Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Greetings. Today's Think with Faisal's episode is a request and appeal to world leaders, business leaders, policy makers from a common man. As you all aware, coronavirus has affected the whole globe. The virus has not seen whether the affectee is a Muslim, Jew, Buddhist, Christian, male, female, white, black, what sect, rich, poor. It has not affected or it has not differentiated in any way. So as you are aware, it is affecting the whole world. However, I would like to share some thoughts that yes, certain people, certain nations, certain companies, and certain individuals will absorb the impact of this virus and this global pandemic. However, there will be nations, there will be companies, and there will be families and individuals who are unable to absorb the shock or absorb this pandemic and the outcome, especially the economic impact it will have on their household, on their budgets, and so forth. In that regard, I would like to share and I want to make a humble appeal and a request to the world leaders, the policymakers, those who are in the power centers, who can influence the whole world, that we have to rethink. At the same time, I want to praise certain governments of the world who have immediately announced certain surplus budgets, who have announced certain special packages, who have given tax rebates, who have announced certain special policies for certain circumstances. But however, we still have to do a lot for the common man. Respected world leaders, during this time, as we have seen, at the moment, the world has to be, yes, the world leaders are caring, are compassionate, are kind, but I think this is the time that we have to show more kindness, more compassionate, more care, and more love for the people around us and for the influence we have or we can create on the people or the nations between us. In this regard, I have a humble suggestion to the governments. Yes, if we can revise our taxes, if we can see is there any taxes that we can give relief to people, if the rich countries or the developed world can look after their other nations and other countries, because I believe all countries now are like brothers and sisters, are become one family. So all the head of states, there are 220 or 230 number of states, we are all as one family. So yes, some brothers are rich, some brothers are poor, some brothers and sisters are in the middle class. So we all have to think how we can look after each other in these testing times. This is number one. Number two, most important for the companies. Yes, certain large companies can absorb this impact. Some companies will not be able to absorb this. So I address to the corporate world, to the shareholders, to the capitalistic world, that at this time, I'm not worried about the millionaires or the billionaires of the world. I'm worried about those who live from one paycheck to the other paycheck, those who make are earning per hourly rate. I know some certain people whose hours have been reduced. Some people have been laid off from their jobs. The only thing I'm worried about their groceries. That's why I'm making this appeal that yes, those who have savings, those countries have higher percentage of saving, they will sustain this time frame. But we have to think about those nations or those segment of your society, those who live from paycheck to paycheck or those who live hand to mouth. Are they buying their groceries? Are they paying their bills on time? So we have to think for this. So the companies, I request most humbly to the business leaders, if we can give some extra allowance or some amount to those people who are on the contracts, who do not have a long-term contract, who are working on hourly basis, if you can ensure that yes, they are buying their groceries, yes, for it is impossible to see for thousands of people, but if you can be more compassionate, yes, you have reserves, the shareholders may have some funds, if you can put some budget for the bottom of the pyramid people in your companies, in your society, in your people around you, that would be great. My other thing is for for the individuals. As an individual, what we can do. Yes, our circle of influence, we have to see our housemate, our neighbors, our neighborhood. Have everyone have piled up their groceries very well? I hope everyone have, because most of the countries have locked down. Most of the countries have been closed down. Some of the countries have locked down for 14 days. Some countries, they don't have the time frame. Some countries are coming out of this. Some countries, the impact will be higher. So I am just thinking and appeal to the world leaders and the business leaders that while it is affecting everyone, the people who are dependent on your decisions, it is an appeal when you're making a decision, when you are writing on those decisions, whether they're policies, laws, act, it is a decree or whatever it is, just be more compassionate, kind, and caring. That it will, your impact, your decision will impact millions of people on the planet at the moment. The reason I would like to share why I made this video, there are 4 stories that I would like to share, which resulted me to make this video. I was thinking for the last few days whether to make this video or give more time. Recently, I came to know there's a taxi driver. In particular, I will not, by purpose, I will not name those countries because it's a global issue. In that particular country, that taxi driver has to make certain amount of money to give to the company every day, and he works 12 to 14 hours to earn that much money. He makes certain amount of money for the company, then he makes certain amount of money for his petrol, then he makes certain amount of money to eat on that day. So whatever he saves, he sends to his household, to the family where they live. So he just told me a week, it's been 1 week or 10 days, he is unable to fulfill the amount which every day he has to give to the company. So technically, he has no funds for his petrol, no funds to eat, or no funds to send to his family. So now he says, I'm consuming from the funds that I'm supposed to give to my company. So I'm sure the companies will be compassionate to show some kindness, to come up with a formula that this person does not go into debt and he have some money to send to his family. Secondly, there's a person also used to work at an airport in a particular country where he lost his job because of nationalization recently. Because of no funds, he lost his apartment. He is owner of the building switched off the electricity, so he had to move to a furnished apartment for a few days. And in that country, he has to pay a family tax of $6,000, whereas he has no job. He was finding job, and this event happened, and this practically everyone at his house. So he can't even go out to find a job. So he has to pay $6,000 his family tax. Otherwise, he will not be allowed to live in that country. This gentleman does not even have $600 at the moment. From where he will bring $6,000? And one more thing, in that particular country, certain taxes are flat taxes. Whether you make 100,000 or you make 10,000 or 5,000, you pay flat tax on your family. So also I request the taxes all over most of the world, it's a proportionate taxation. It's based on your income. So my humble appeal to the world leaders, to the policy makers, that we have to be more empathetic, caring while making policies. And these stories, I'm sure we can multiply into few hundred thousands. Other story belongs to, there's a first world developed country, a major cosmopolitan, people who work on an hourly rate in a store. I came to know people don't have funds to buy grocery. So my humble appeal to those large stores, conglomerates, if you can give some funds to those people, or maybe 1 month's salary, or let's say 15 days salary, it may be $500, $1,000 to those people who can sustain this time frame, that would be great. I'm sure at this time, my respected world leaders, business leaders, more important than balance sheet, profit and loss, trade balance, the most important thing is the human values. Because this time will pass, but what we will be remembered is how we reacted, how we looked after the people who were around us. Lastly, the people also affected over is the freelancers. The freelancers are those people who get paid. They are not into long-term contractual business relationship. They don't have annual contracts. They work and that get paid. So when there is no work happening around the world is standstill to an extent. These people are also affected, and their bills, their cash flows are quite affected. So we have to think about the freelancers, the consultants of the world who are working on a very low rate. Lastly, as I said, this time, inshallah ta'ala, by the grace of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and His mercy will pass. But what we will be remembered as a human race together, how we reacted, what decisions which we made, did we took care of 7.5 billion people on the planet? With this humble appeal and a humble request to the world leaders, I look forward for your considerate view. I am sure or everyone, all the countries, all the top ministers, all the world leaders are reviewing their policies. But this was just a message, just a humble reminder, perhaps in that way. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala keep you all safe, healthy, and stable. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.